Salutations, this is Dave Degenerate. I'm doing something with a sore throat now. Getting off to a bad start. I am doing a video this week on hacks, and I feel incredibly dirty for saying that word, but I think this day and age you can't really say tips anymore when people expect you to say hacks. So anyway, this is guitar hacks. Ugh. Anyway. Yeah, it's a few little tips and tricks and things that I've picked up and things that I've seen and things that I've tried out myself that I think work and make things a little bit easier. So we'll get down to it. So, starting off, the back plate. Now, my personal advice for the back plate is just leave it off. Because I've always found that if I was changing strings with a through body or a vintage style trem, the back plate would always get in the way and I would always have to take it off and do that, because I use quite heavy gauge strings anyway, so the trem is always a little bit raised up. So yeah, I think the only real time you need a back plate at the back of your guitar is when you're putting a block in the trem there. Other than that, no point, because really you're just going to want to have to adjust these, you just want to have to restring through the body. It's going to be totally tedious to take the back plate off. Secondly, staying on the back of the guitar, I don't know how well you can see this in this light, but you can get these little pick holders with an adhesive on them. Now I put them on the back plate right there. I just hit the headstock. Anyway, you put them on the back plate, and then what you do is if you ever need anything really quickly, you can just reach out, grab a pick like that, but also because the back plate doesn't damage the finish of your guitar. That's a good place to put them, and they're also just really handy. It's a good place to keep your picks. Second is the actual trem itself. Now if you have a vintage style trem, what's a really good idea? These 4 screws in the middle there, not the ones on the outside but the 4 in the middle, raise them up slightly, just like a quarter turn with a screwdriver. You raise them up, get more stability, they stay in tune a bit better. Another thing about it, this only really affects me personally. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to argue with what I'm about to say, but I personally only ever really used the volume control and the bridge pickup. Now when I got this guitar, it had passives in it, and I rather like EMGs. I know, hate me for it, whatever. Anyway, I decided to put an EMG 81 in the bridge. Now obviously when you switch from passive to actives, you have to change out the potentiometers. So what I did was, I am going somewhere by the way, I know I'm kind of rambling, but just hear me out. I need to make space for the battery obviously, because I was using active pickups. Now what I did basically was I disconnected everything and I replaced the potentiometer for the volume control. Didn't bother replacing it with the tone control because I never use it, so I didn't want to have it be part of the circuit. So I kept all the old wiring in. So the wiring for these 2 pickups, plus that potentiometer and the original wiring for the output jack, which obviously got rewired, is all still in the body of the guitar. Now what this did was it meant that there was a lot less space in the cavity, so I didn't have the battery kind of bouncing around and sort of rattling and have to make room for it. Basically instead it all holds the battery in place. Now obviously you got to worry a bit about overheating, but that's not really a factor because it's a passive circuit, so there isn't any current going through it when it's not being used for anything. So that was, anyway, long story short, if you're going to do what I did, leave the old wiring in because it will hold the battery straight. I got there in a really long way of saying that. Finally, I was going to do a video demonstrating this, but unfortunately I've kind of restrung all my guitars. But if you do have a through body again, a good way when you're restringing is to pull the string out all the way it will go and then bend it over, and then what you'll basically do there is you'll stop it from falling back through the body, which is a total nightmare. And then normally when I go up through the headstock, there's another video I made, I think I'm on restringing acoustics, which is the same basic principle, but I always do one wind, then I bend the end of the string up like that, and when I'm trying to get enough sort of give, I usually go about 6 inches for the lower strings and the higher strings a bit higher. Do a wind up the string winder, and then you kind of get things perfect. That's much easier to show than it is to explain, but unfortunately, whatever, sue me. Finally, this is just a bit of picking technique. Now, I'm not going to talk about what picks you should be using or anything like that, but you know, a few little tips for actual picking. First off, I always find when you're doing like lead playing and stuff like that, it's good to only have a little bit of the pick on display. For strumming, have more of it on display. That's why for lead playing personally I like to use jazz picks, but again I use different picks every month whenever I make my mind up on what is more comfortable to use. This is what I'm using right now at this very moment in time. Next month it'll be different. Anyway, when I do pick, I always lean my arm on the body of the guitar so that all the movement comes from my wrist and not from my actual arm itself. But when I'm actually sort of single note picking, you know, like that sort of stuff, I haven't warmed up or whatever, I always rest my fingers down here so that I basically end up like leaning on two parts of the guitar, and that kind of, I don't know, I just find it more comfortable, stops my finger from locking out. So if you do actually lean your sort of finger down there, your middle finger, and just rest on the body of the guitar, then it gives you a good angle in which that you can pick the notes. And also, if you've got a guitar with a nitrocellulose finish, it means it will wear down there and you'll get that road worn look a lot faster, and that will look pretty awesome. So yeah, that was a few hacks for things like that. Just stuff to make guitar life a little bit easier. I've been a degenerate, you've been cool. Thanks very much for watching my video.